Good morning, everyone. Good evening, also. This is Luda Kupikina with GAI Insights. Welcome to Daily AI News, where we rate the news essential, important, and optional. You can follow along in gaiinsights.com/articles. The articles we'll be reviewing are in there, and please let us know what you think and whether you agree or disagree with our ratings. We have slight issue with the video. So for some reason, it insists, StreamYard insists of showing it a certain way. So yeah, please go to the link and open the articles. It might be easier to look at the articles. The visual might be small. Okay, let's proceed to the first article, Ankash.
Sure, Luda. Just bringing up my screen. Okay, the first one that we have for today comes from McKinsey and talks about banking on Gen AI in the credit business, the route to value creation.
Yes, a survey of McKinsey of 44 banks of different sizes. And this is the result, but it's a little dated survey. They did it at the end of 24. What did you think about this, Ashish?
Thanks, Luda. I found it fascinating, to be honest. I read through the entire thing. A couple of things that stuck out for me were they divided banks into three categories. The kind of the largest of the banks, then super regional, and then core regional. And from that segmentation, a few interesting things have emerged, right? I mean, if you scroll down further, Ankaj, um, the smaller banks you'll see, the very first one, if you see this one as well, the darker blue, which is the smaller core regional banks, they are kind of putting more investments in AI driven workloads as compared to some of the large ones. If you further go down, a lot of the prioritization is based on productivity improvement, business needs, and regulatory compliance. And return of investment is kind of not the top criteria for a lot of folks, right? And I feel that is where the industry has trended. Even the tech world, that a lot of capital investment has happened, and ROI is not the question now. People are questioning ROI. Um, and then if you go further down, you'll see another kind of bubble chart where you can just visually see that the core regional kind of banks, they're making huge investments and gains in terms of um, ideation and piloting and going to full deployment even, right? So in this case, size probably doesn't matter. I mean, smaller folks are moving faster and kind of making gains and doing more experimentation. I found it super interesting. Anybody who's in the financial sector, this might be a good read. So I was between optional or, sorry, important or essential on this one.
Interesting. Okay, important, essential from Ashish. What did you think, Paul or John?
Yeah, I was unimportant. I thought, and the reason, um, just make sure I'm referring to the right one here. We're talking about the uh, banking and Gen AI and credit business. That one,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, I thought that. No, this one actually, no, I was thinking the wrong one. I'm thinking this is optional. I didn't think it had a lot of new insight, and the idea that they're going more slowly, and they've got some, decent data, but no new indications either in terms of how value was created or what the results were. So I was optional on this one.
Yeah, I was optional as well, Ashish. It didn't strike me as very insightful, except for it's a slow-moving industry and adoption that we kind of knew. It's moving faster, I believe. Now we saw a couple of articles on that recently, but not a survey like that. Paul, what did you think?
Optional as well. I do appreciate and highlight Ashish's notion that these smaller guys are moving innovatively faster, and we've seen that all over the board. There's so much governance and so much um, pushback at large companies for political reasons and bonus reasons, but optional.
Okay, Ashish, can you live with optional?
Sure.
Okay, optional it is. Let's proceed to the next one.
Okay, the next one that we have for today comes from Hugging Face, and it talks about small LM3, which is a new model, which is small, multilingual, and has a long context reasoner.
Yes, I rated this article as important because, Ankash, if you scroll down to the first model size and win rate, what they've done is essentially created a model that is in a sweet spot in terms of the size and ability to be on premise and the performance, right? So it outperforms the similar sizes from Llama and Quen, and almost gets to the performance of Gemini or Gemma and Quen 4 billion parameters. So that's great. But it's this article specifically, and Kash, if you can scroll down to the full methodology of training the model. So they essentially give us the full book with the explanations of what's happening. I don't see the screen now, the Ankash's screen. Okay, so it has the full architecture and they go deeply into what the pre-training methodology was, what the model autonomy looks like, and what the key learnings were of why the performance was higher. They talk about data mixture and training stages, and some methodologies of how they dealt with the long context in mid-training, and also improving reasonings and post-training. So I found it quite instructive. So for people who are actually looking at the models to put them high performance models on the edge, is I think it's invaluable. So I think it's important. What do you think? What do you think, John?
Yeah, I agree, Luda. I love the way, I mean, when we talk about open source, this is truly open, right? Gave us the data, they gave us the methods, throughout the things, really well detailed. For me, it was definitely important.
Okay, Ashish.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a very well written article as well. Also, they actually go into the complete kind of recipe of building a model, which I've not seen this detailed anywhere. So whether the model is important or not, I mean, I thought model was kind of optional, but it was truly open. But the article describing how they built the model was fascinating. For that reason, I was important.
Yeah, so even if you're not building the model, I think it's a good read to understand what's happening under the hood. Yeah. Paul?
I was more on the optional side. It's it's another more innovation on. It's a product announcement. There's 100,000 plus open source models.
Yeah, but do you see the open book type of a discussion about the how do you get the long window to perform?
Yep. No, I thought that's a good technical discussion. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Important it is. Let's proceed, Ankash.
Okay, the next one comes from Character AI, and this is about Character AI's real-time video breakthrough.
John, what did you think about this one?
I thought it was important. The reason is that I think that the importance of as I understand it, and I haven't had a chance to use it yet on videos, but if you can easily take any video and make it into a YouTube or a TikTok short, that you have the ability to do more semantic based editing. I just think because there's such a growth in video, short and long form. And it's that and podcasts are the two parts of the media landscape that are growing like crazy. And I think this tool is going to be vital. I want to reach out and find out how to use it. I could have used it yesterday. I was working on something, so I was going to give it an important, even though it's just a product announcement, but I think it's in a particularly hot and interesting area. And by the way, I love having this like bolt of light coming out of the top of my head. I think I'm going to keep that.
Okay, Ashish, what did you think?
I rated it as important as well. I mean, remember, this can go from image to video with consistency of audio and consistency of character and so on and so forth. They also have research paper if people are interested. And I feel this could change anime and animation and stuff like this. It would be great for your video creation.
Yeah, I think the edge here is real time. So
Hmm.
they're doing it not just give them the photo and they generate the image. It's generated as we speak. But there's
Yeah,
latency.
efficient.
There's latency, and there's certainly the good characteristics of those characters you see, but they show some latency. Paul, what did you think? So I was on optional side yet.
Yeah, but make sure I understand. This is from Character AI's research department. This is a research paper and a video demo. It's not a product that's available for anyone to use yet. So it's a view into some of what they're seeing on the research side, which is important step forward. But for the time starved AI leader getting stuff into production this year, I found this optional.
I'm not sure, Paul, that it's called Talking Machines. It's a real-time audio, it's FaceTime style video generation. So I don't know whether it's not
I mean,
available.
they said that the headline is we introduced this model, and in the bottom of the article says read the paper or watch the demo.
Yeah,
So
it's
okay,
It's
early.
not
It's
a
early.
link to download it or
it's very early. It's very early, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All
But
right.
I feel the direction where research is headed in terms of real-time video from image and kind of things that you wanted to talk through or kind of the transcript, I mean, that's phenomenal. I mean, it can change so many use cases, I feel.
Yeah,
Right.
but fair enough, Paul. I
Yeah.
missed the fact that it's not available now. Yeah, I'd put it as optional.
All right. So the trend is important. I think all of us would like a real-time image or video generation, and that's happening. It seems like, but it's still early days. So the trend is important, but the article is optional. Optional. Optional with the important trend. Let's proceed.
Okay, the next one comes from AWS and it talks about how Index accelerates transportation planning with Amazon Bedrock.
Yeah, an interesting dive into how we get islands in the middle of intersections. Um, what did you think about this, Ashish?
Uh, I found it again pretty good read. I did not know about the company. There's so much that goes in transportation planning and management. Again, so that was great to understand. I feel some of the things that they're doing is groundbreaking in terms of kind of traffic planning and so on and so forth. There's a good kind of architecture diagram as well. One thing that I did not take away was some of the numbers on impact. For that reason, I thought it was optional, but otherwise, again, just like any AWS story, they've gone into a ton of details. So I found that read pretty fascinating, but optional.
Yeah, it's a fascinating. I was also an optional. John, what did you think?
Yeah, interesting case study, but I thought optional. Not a lot of application, and outside of this particular thing, seemed like early stage research, not widely deployed, so optional.
Okay,
Yeah,
Paul.
John, on
Oh,
that, I mean,
no.
they talk about 50 petabytes of data being kind of crawled and insight extracted. So I feel this is kind of real. I don't know how, I mean, if somebody's looking for at scale study, I mean, this is a good one, to be honest. That's
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I was also looking at 50 megabytes, and it's incredible. And also, see what they are now able to pull out is the various histories with pedestrian accidents in certain places, and suggest of how you can remedy that at different ways and streamline a lot of work. So in terms of numbers, as you're reading it, you get impact numbers.
Yeah,
You
and
get
it's
a big
multidimensional
sense
data.
that it's huge impact, huge
Yeah.
impact. They just didn't count it.
Also, it's multidimensional data, I mean, temporal differences and things like that. So, I mean, they are bringing in data from very different sources, connected cars, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. So this is
Leading edge in
massive.
that sense.
This is at scale and massive. Paul, what did you think? Break the tie. So Anka or Ashish and I are leaning important, but it's really because it doesn't have numbers. It probably optional. But what do you think?
I'm remain an optional boy today. So I'm more on the optional side, but
Okay.
there's so much going on. It's just I had a call yesterday with someone who absolutely loves the show, and she listens to it when she does her treadmill every day. And I said, "Why?" She said, "Because." I said, "Can't because of the humor." She said, "It's not because of the humor. It's not because of the jokes, but that we have spirited debates and do have a point of view on what's important in this world of just so many changes every single day."
Okay. You have a point. Okay, optional it is. Let's proceed to the next one, Ankaj.
Okay, the next one comes from Reka, and they have introduced Reka Vision, intelligence made visible.
Yeah, so it's a very crowded market. Reka is one of the standouts because they are able to customize how people are looking at video. So what they're introducing here is the ability to see the footage and digest it and actually summarize it in another video. So pull out the snippets and summarize it and do it very custom. So it's and it has the searching capability and the chat attached to it. Um, I think I was between optional and important because it's from the quotes of users at the bottom, the people are using it in YouTube, taking long videos and getting the little snippets out of them. I think this has massive applications. Reka itself is kind of leading in a number of ways and has been rumored that Snowflake is planning on buying it for $1 billion, or they're in talks with Reka to buy it for $1 billion. So they certainly have something here, and I think the application of what they're doing is pretty massive and innovative. What did you think about this, Ashish?
Um, Article was very short and didn't have too much in it, so for that reason, I thought it was optional. But from technology standpoint, it's foundational and fundamental. I mean, imagine having surveillance cameras and trying to identify important snippets in it. Things like live monitoring is another scenario that they called out. So from a tech perspective, is like for anything to do with video processing, live feed, super important. But again, the article didn't have too much. It felt like a product announcement. For that reason, it was optional.
Yeah,
Okay.
Luda, let me, sorry, my plane's about to board here doing last call. I'm going to
Mhm.
make the case for essential. I had confused this article with the other one. The other one was definitely optional. This is the one I was talking about with the ability to look at YouTube videos and so forth. And as Ashish said, the ability to take any video feed and make sense of it. I mean, we're talking about a company. I agree the article is thin and so forth, but the technology itself, I think, anybody in any marketing department, in any human resources department, they need to know that the stuff is there's so much video that I think is overwhelming creative departments and so forth. And I think it's such, I mean, we find in our own social media outreach and so forth, videos perform so much better. This is, to me, this is essential. And, the fact that you can do this and it's available, I haven't had a chance to use it yet, but literally today, tomorrow, I'm going to get on it and use it because, we're producing videos. Wouldn't it be great to have the show? I'm thinking about taking the highlights out of this show, every interaction, every meeting, every whatever. So I'd say essential. But I agree with you, Ashish. It's a very thin article, but the thing underneath is a beautiful thing. And
Okay.
I'm gonna say goodbye. My vote for the next one is optional. So I'll see you guys later on.
Okay. Thanks, John. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Have a good flight. Okay. Paul, what did you think? So
You know,
there's a range, like on good articles, that's what we see. We see optional to essential. What do you think?
yeah, and I think we have I know John had clicked off and can't defend himself. We see this a lot, though. We have an article that's on an important trend. Certain getting clips out of video is a really important trend. Getting value out of 15 million photos is a trend because they don't have enough metadata. But this is a product announcement. They said it's a product announcement. They just did $110 million here. There's multiple companies like Clipper and others out there who are trying to do video clips from it. They don't have I believe it's a really good trend, but I think this particular article is optional.
Okay.
You find the chalk, Luda.
Yeah, I'm going important on this one because it's currently you could do it. It's and people are using it for and it's massive, as John said. So I'm not sure I would rate the article essential, but I'm important. Can you live with that, Ashish?
Yeah.
Paul?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be much more easier for the AI leader is, here are the 5 vendors that are in this space, and how do these guys compete with it? They are not the only game in town, so it's an important trend, but that doesn't rise to essential in my view.
Okay, all right, important. Let's proceed. Angash.
Okay, the last one for today comes from VentureBeat and talks about why CISOs are making this safe switch. They are using fewer vendors, smarter security, and better AI guardrails.
Yeah, so John is off. Let me introduce this and then let's discuss it. So essentially, it's a movement of security to the cloud. So the deal was that security was so much security that you stayed on premise, right? And so we didn't allow um, all this outsourcing to on security specifically. So this is a movement that has been happening, and now there are a couple of vendors that the article highlights that that are doing it and doing it well. So we haven't reviewed this trend at all. So I was thinking of putting it as important. So it actually has all the security capabilities, and some portion of the article talks about that essentially it's outsourcing all of your security rather than doing it piecemeal. And that's actually every interaction between the vendors is introducing a potential crack in the security armor, right? So the less vendors, the more secure the application is. So that's the message here. And there are 3 vendors that are doing a good job. What did you think about this, Ashish?
I was split between optional and important on this one. I do feel that consolidation of security assets kind of give you more control. There's less spread and kind of possibilities of failure. So that makes sense. But it also felt like, again, I don't know what was the spread of vendors that they looked at before they kind of consolidated on these 3. So it almost felt like marketing for these 3, to be honest, a little bit to me.
Yeah,
So
it
for
did.
that reason, I was like, but I mean, the subject is important, and I feel AI guardrails and AI-based security. We should talk a little bit more about it. We don't talk enough about it, right? And AI is going to shake all all dimensions of security, to be honest.
Yeah. So they cite a study from IBM in collaboration with Palo Alto Networks that an average organization had 83 different security solutions from 29 vendors. So
Wow.
the complexity of the solution
Yeah.
is quite massive. And as I said, every transaction between those vendors increase security risk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So, but they don't give us the numbers on the result, really, just the belief that
Yeah, and yardsticks are for comparison as well, right? I mean, there are some high-level ones, but they're not empirical.
Yes,
In my mind.
yes.
But, yeah, Paul.
So optional to important still. Paul.
Yeah, I mean, the purpose of this article is a $359 million fundraising round by Cato Networks here. So that's what the purpose of the article is. And, you know, I think it's optional from that standpoint. It's security's been around for a long time. It's obviously important here. It's talking about a fundraising round for a large player to do consolidation. And then it references, a Gartner graph. So optional. I think obviously important for CISOs, but optional for AI leaders.
Okay. All right. Let's put it as optional, and let's prepare the scorecard, Ankash.
And while he's doing that, just thanks everyone's patience for our really tight screen here. We are learning that if you set portrait mobile before you start a live show, it stays that way. It can't be switched.
And Valda, thanks for the compliment. We really appreciate you listening on the treadmill, and really appreciate your participation periodically, and all the listeners as well. Oh, I see Adam listening as well. Great. Thank you all.
Brenda's got a comment as well.
The humor is only second perspectives. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Well, thanks. We try. Okay, great. Thank you all very much. And Ankash, Ankash, the scorecard. I'm sorry. So today we have two importance and the rest are optional. So we didn't quite succumb to essential on the Reka vision from John. So that is important. And another one is the small LM3 as well, because of its transparency of the architecture. All right, great. See you all tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Paul. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Ashish.